Pingly is a chatbot that uses AI to better prepare patients for medical consultations. We ask 70 to 100% of the questions a doctor will ask anyway, but we do that ahead of the consultation so patients are better prepared and doctors win valuable time. The patient is invited via the doctor's appointment system or secretary or the hospital system and access our chatbot who will ask starting questions about symptoms. We will get information about the appointment system, for example, or the hospital, about the name, the age, and the gender of the patient. So we start by asking questions about the symptom, and by doing so, we take into account dialect words, for example. As you can see here in Dutch, we have today the application in 3 languages for the full dynamic anamnesis. It's in Dutch, French, and English. And we have 15 languages for more structured questionnaires like preoperative questionnaires. Including in these languages are German, but also Turkish, Arabic, etc. So imagine we have a patient who has pain. Then we will ask what we call quantifying or objectifying questions about that symptom. So the first question is, since how long do you have this symptom? So for example, I have pain since 2 days. And as pain is always related to location, we will ask to specify the location of the pain. So imagine the patient has knee pain, for example. The next question is, this pain, did it come spontaneously or was it because of an external factor, like, for example, I felt or I hit my knee against the wall, so let's say it's spontaneous. Does the pain radiate to other parts of the body? As you can see here, you can only select the parts that make medically sense for radiation of knee pain. So I cannot select the head or the hand because there are no nerve paths connecting the knee and hand, for example. But let's say I have pain in my upper leg, radiation pain in my upper leg. Then specifically for pain, there are questions about the pain that's getting worse, the pain scale, the pain that's getting better when, for example, resting, and then we have the type of pain. Of course, these questions depend on the symptom that the patient will enter. So, for example, if you have a skin rash or let's say diarrhea, there will be other questions than the ones that we see here. So the patient has now detailed, objectivized his symptom, in this case pain, and can enter other symptoms. Let's now say we don't have other symptoms. I click no, and now the engine, the system, will calculate a differential diagnosis, so a long list of potential diagnoses, and will immediately calculate the next best, the best next question to ask. So, which is now the most intelligent question to ask, which will get me the most information gain. And this question is presented to the patient with a yes or no answer. So in this case, the most intelligent question to ask is, does the skin feel warm? Let's say I say no. Again, there's a calculation. So as you can see, for example, do you have a swelling? No. Again, there's a calculation. So this is not a decision tree approach. This is a neural network which imitates the way a doctor thinks. So with every answer that the patient gives, we make a new calculation and we calculate again the best next question to ask. I will answer no, but for example, if the system asks, do you have fever? Let's say I have 39 degrees. And again, it calculates a new question. So in total, the patient will see 10 questions, which he answers with yes or no. And as you can see, this is very easy to use. We have done tests with 6,000 patients where we get a score of 97% user friendliness. And that's with all kinds of patients, so also older people. So the patient sends the information to the doctor, and the doctor, he receives the anamnesis, as you can see here, in his dashboard, and he can see this patient has pain in the patella since 2 days on the left side, it came spontaneously, etc. This information is immediately coded with SNOMED CT coding or ICPC2 coding. The doctor can see the anamnesis in a couple of seconds, while otherwise he will need minimum 5 minutes to capture this information. So you see the primary symptom, then you can see as I had fever, you can see the coding and see I had 39 degrees. And the other questions were answered with no, so he sees these symptoms are not present. The doctor has a second field with a differential diagnosis. He can open and he can see, based on our anamnesis, what are the potential diagnoses with indication of probability, and again with pre-coded information. This is important as a decision support tool, but can also be used as a triage tool. For example, in orthopedic surgery or neurosurgery, based on this differential diagnosis, the doctor or the hospital can decide to invite a patient earlier if there is a red flag, or ask the patient to see first another doctor, or first go to radiology or a physiotherapist. And as a last step, the doctor can export this information by selecting or deselecting symptoms and export it in his medical dossier.